Hello, is anyone there? This is Connie at CRC. Can you hear me?
I never know what this is, whether it's going to be Zoom or Teams or what.
And your mic is.
All set, Mr. Collins?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, very good.
Let's turn the volume up.
We'll start in just a couple minutes.
Speaker here. And just move this.
Great.
Excellent. Okay.
Thanks so much, Eric. Thanks.
All right, Sandra, you're in, right? Sandra?
Yes, I'm hearing an echo. Is that just me?
No, everybody needs to mute if they're not talking. How about now, Sandra? Are you still hearing the echo?
No. Actually, I am. I think in my desperation on trying to get on here, I think I was on twice. So apologies for that.
I can see you now.
Your Honor, I know that Ted Gallagher and Candace were both also trying to join, but they were telling me that they did not receive an invite or they could not locate their invite either.
Okay, let me try and fix that now.
Thank you. I tried to flip to them what you sent to me, but I'm not sure if it worked.
I'm not hearing anybody.
All right, I can hear Mr. Collins and I could hear you, Mr. Wolfson. Let
Oh,
me see.
I just got the audio. It just popped in. Can you hear me? Now I can't hear you.
I unmuted,
I
sorry.
can hear you.
Okay.
We are off to a great start here. Just bear with me for a second. Let me try and get Mr. Gallagher the invite.
Thanks so much.
I have to say, Your Honor, this is the most problems that I've ever had getting into a WebEx presentation. It asked me for my URL. I've never had that happen before, and I had to play around with it 3 different ways.
Certainly not a good omen.
I think everybody will get on. I think everybody just needs a minute or two. And thank you for your patience, Your Honor.
Well, as the judge knows, there was a lot of problems yesterday with the PC 54 RM80 meeting.
Right. All right, Mr. Gallagher.
The PSC has had a lot of problems, computer problems lately, haven't they?
We just have a lot of problems, period.
Jay Gallagher.
And actually, Your Honor, it's just Ted Gallagher who was planning to join from the company. Candace is not available.
Okay, I just sent it to Mr. Gallagher. Hopefully it goes through and it works.
Great. I texted him to tell him to look for it. He tells me he has not received anything. Um,
All right. I
Let me-
don't know
let me-
why.
Could I confirm the email address with you?
That would be great, sir. I know it's,
Comes to worse, he could call in. I see Ted.
hello?
I don't.
There he is.
Oh, there he is. Okay, excellent. All right, I think we have everyone now. Doug, are we ready to go, sir? Or the court reporter, are we ready to go?
Yes, this is Connie. We're ready to go.
All right, great, Connie. Thank you, sir. We're on the record now. Good morning, everyone. My name is Chuck McLean. I'm the Chief Public Utility Law Judge at the Maryland Public Service Commission. Today is June 7th, 2023, and it's approximately 4 minutes after 10. I appreciate everyone's patience dealing with a little technical issue as we get started here. We're here in case number 9701, which is captioned Columbia Gas of Maryland, Inc.'s application for authority to increase rates and charges for natural gas services. We'll start with appearances. We can start with the company.
Theodore Gallagher on behalf of Columbia Gas of Maryland. Also, I'd like to enter the appearance of Candace Tanillo. First name Candace is spelled C-A-N-D-I-S. Tanillo is spelled T-U-N-I-L-O, who cannot be available at this time.
Good morning,
sir.
Good morning, Your Honor and parties. Carville Collins on behalf of Columbia Gas of Maryland.
Good morning, sir. OPC.
Good morning, Your Honor. Ryan Shu, HSU, on behalf of OPC, and also with me is Gary Alexander.
Good morning, gentlemen. MEA.
Good morning, Your Honor. Sandra McLemore on behalf of the Maryland Energy Administration. Also, I'd like to enter the appearances of counsel with my office, Steve Towson, David Shapiro, and Michelle Honig.
Good morning, ma'am. Staff.
Good morning, Your Honor. Peter Wilson on behalf of the technical staff, and Hunter Davis may be joining us. He's currently downstairs in the admin meeting, but he may be released from that soon.
I'm sure he would much rather be here. All right,
Absolutely.
and finally, we have Mr. Marquise. If you could just state your name and spell it for the court reporters, sir.
My name is Clayton Marquis. It's C-L-A-Y-T-O-N. Last name is Marquis, M-A-R-Q-U-I-S-S.
My apologies for mispronouncing
No problem,
it,
sir.
All right.
Can I clarify one thing for my name? I use the middle initial L, so it's Gary L. Alexander because there's another Maryland attorney, Gary R. Alexander.
Got it,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Alexander. Appreciate it. All right, why don't we start with the filing we got yesterday, request to I'll essentially call it a petition to intervene. Does anyone want to be heard on that matter? Sir, I don't know if you had any follow-up to my email in response to your filing, sir.
Are you talking to me, Your Honor?
Yes, sir, I am. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I would like to represent, as a party, to represent myself as an individual, a resident of Washington County, Maryland, and a consumer of Columbia Gas. And that's why I'd like to be a part of this. I think in the past, we are represented by a group for all the consumers. No one in that group lives in Washington County, is represented by us here. And I think that their just consumer representation has not been very effective in the past. And I'm trying to hopefully change that for myself as a consumer, an individual.
Okay, thank you, sir. And do you intend on like filing testimony or, you know, I'm not saying what you have to do at this point, but there's something called an interested party where they don't interested parties don't necessarily file testimony. They don't get discovery or propound discovery, but they get all the pleadings from the parties, and that's just another option. But if you want to represent yourself, that's when you can file testimony, cross-examine witnesses, to that extent.
I would like to represent myself is the plan.
Okay.
You're on.
All right. Does any party wish to be heard on this?
Yes, Your Honor. Columbia Gas would like to make a statement for the record.
Please do, sir.
Certainly appreciate the sentiments from Mr. Marquis, and I'm not going to dispute his views as to the adequacy of representation, but there are a couple of considerations that I would ask the commission to consider here. First is the requirement for there to be a lawyer if there is to be a representation of a party in this proceeding. And I don't know the answer to whether Mr. Marquis is a lawyer, a Maryland barred attorney, but if not, I believe that would be an impediment. The second thing is the Office of People's Counsel is under its statute charged with the very role that he has described, which is representing the interests of the residential ratepayer in Maryland. I would think that he could be working with the Office of People's Counsel, giving them his views, and the Office of People's Counsel could continue to serve out its mission of representing this gentleman as well as all of the other residential ratepayers in Washington County and throughout the service area for the purpose of this case. So for those two reasons, we would respectfully oppose the petition to intervene, but we would encourage Mr. Marquis to work with the Office of People's Counsel and also perhaps assume the status as an interested party so that he could fully participate in receiving all of the documents and be aware of all of the developments in this case to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. Does anyone else wish to be heard on this?
Yes, Your Honor.
Please.
I agree. OPC agrees with Mr. Collins' first reason that if Mr. Marquez wants to be an active party as opposed to being an interested intervener, as you described, then he does have to be an attorney, and maybe he is. He'll get a chance to speak, of course, in a minute. The other thing is what you described as to working with OPC, that, you know, we're in essence a law office, and the things we do are attorney work product and attorney privilege, and I'm not sure that we can share that with a non-attorney and non-formal intervener. I haven't really thought about it a lot, but again, if Mr. Marquez wants to be an interested party, and then he, as you said, will get all the pleadings, and I would gather that if he wants to testify, I think anybody can testify. It's just that you won't be, the person won't be considered a formal intervener, and as you said, file pleadings and pre-file testimony, which is generally expert testimony. So I think I'm going to turn it over to staff and PPRP, and then I'm going to stop talking, and eventually Mr. Marquez can, of course, respond if Your Honor would like it. Thank you.
Sure. Ms. McLemore, you had your hand up, and then you put it down, then you raise it again.
Yes, I had a quick question. I didn't know if I was supposed to be using the hand raised thing during the hearing, but I do know that I've been in a couple of cases where individuals did represent themselves. So, you know, I don't have a position, MEA does not have a position in this, but I did want to point that out.
No, and I appreciate that, and I have seen the same thing. It is certainly not common, but it has occurred. And I'll throw this out to Mr. Collins and Mr. Alexander, since you raised the point. I'm not as concerned about how OPC works with Mr. Marquez, but it seems that the regulation clearly would allow an individual appearing on their own behalf to not be a lawyer. Does anyone read the regulation differently?
No, Your Honor. I read it the same way.
Okay.
based on the message that Mr. Marquis has sent forward, he indicated that he would like to represent the interests of his tenants. And I think that is referring to residential ratepayers. So for that reason, I sense that there was a proposal here to participate in this case in a representative capacity. So for that reason, I am invoking the Maryland Barred Attorney provisions, which I do believe apply here. If he were to represent himself and just himself, then I would have no objection, and I do understand that others have done that in prior cases before the commission.
All right, thank you, Mr. Collins. And I read the filing the same way, which is why I cited that regulation. Now, sir, in relation to my response and the concerns of counsel, is it my understanding that you just want to represent yourself in this proceeding, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. Mr. Alexander.
Yes, Your Honor. OPC prefers or encourages Maryland residential ratepayers to participate in proceedings that affect them. And from what I just understood is if Mr. Marquez is representing himself and he's pro se, there is absolutely fine. We not only agree to it, but we encourage it.
All right, excellent. And I apologize. I guess I should have made that, I guess, a little clear. Maybe we could have saved a little bit of time. Anybody else, staff, PPRP, any objections?
Staff has no objections, Your Honor, to pro se representation.
Your Honor, one other question for the
sir.
record, if I may.
Please.
The gentleman has indicated that he is a customer of Columbia Gas. Might we have some information so that could be confirmed? Not that we doubt him. We accept him at his word, but sometimes people are just within or just outside of our service area, and they may be mistaken. So, could we confirm that he is indeed a residential customer of Columbia Gas? Maybe by virtue of some billing information or an address or something, we might be able to confirm that for the record.
Sure, and so you don't have to throw out everything on YouTube, sir, at this point. Would it be acceptable if he did that after the hearing, Mr. Collins?
Absolutely.
Okay, excellent. Okay, sir, subject to Columbia's confirmation that you are in fact a customer, your petition to intervene is granted.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, sir. All right. Mr. Gallagher, did you want to, or Mr. Collins, mark the certificate of publication?
Yes, Your Honor. So we filed the certificate of publication of yesterday. And since we have pre-filed exhibits that are designated with numeric exhibit numbers, let's call this Columbia Exhibit A. And that is an 18-page document that was filed yesterday under mail log 303366. And that consists of newspaper display advertisements May 21st, 2023 and May 28th, 2023 in the Herald Mail, and May 20th, 2023 and May 27th, 2023 in the Cumberland Times. We also have copies in this filing with the of our, excuse me, the homepage where the notice appeared on the homepage. And then there's a separate item behind the homepage notification that says, that has the header website. But just by way of clarification, on the homepage, on that second page of the homepage document, if you were to click on case number 9701 pre-hearing, that would take you to what we designated as website, which is further notice. And then, of course, we have the social media, Twitter and Facebook included in the last few pages. So with that description of what we filed here, I move that be entered into the record.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gallagher. We'll mark this as Company Exhibit A as an alpha. Is there any objection to its admittance into the record, admission into the record, excuse me? All right, Company A is admitted. All right, Mr. Marquez, I'm sorry. Right, I was right the second time, correct?
It's Marquis, but it's like KW, but it's totally
All
fine.
right,
It's a very
Okay.
it's a Americanized name. It's an Americanized French name.
Your name looks familiar. Have you participated in other cases?
I have commented before, I think on the previous three
When?
or 4 cases.
Dan's Mountain, something?
What?
Dan's Mountain Wind Farm? I don't know. You just the name.
I think I might have commented on that as well. Yes, I
Okay.
follow the PSC as closely as I can these days.
Well, the name rings a bell. So, the parties had set around a procedural schedule that had been agreed upon, and I'm just going to run through it for your benefit because I don't believe you've received it yet. So on June 30th, Columbia will update its application for actuals.
Okay, I'm writing this down.
And you'll get a copy of this.
Okay.
So if you like to write it down, please feel free, but you will get a copy of this, sir. On July 26th, staff, OPC, and any other intervener, meaning yourself or PPRP, direct testimony is due. On August 16th, rebuttal testimony is due for all parties. On or sometime the week of August 22nd, there will be evening public comment hearings. The parties had originally requested that they be virtual, but given the fact that we've had virtual hearings for the last 3 years due to the pandemic, I'd like to have those both in person. So those dates, that date or that week is not necessarily firm. It'll be to be determined once the company is able to secure locations. And we typically have one hearing in Hagerstown and one in Cumberland, sir. On September 5th, rebuttal testimony for all parties will be due. On September 8th, a party comparison chart of essentially where all the positions are of the parties based on their filings will be due. Evidentiary hearings will be held here in Baltimore on September 12th to the 14th. Briefs will be due on October 13th. My proposed order will be due on October 27th. Any appeals to that order will be due to the commission on November 9th. Reply memorandum will be due on November 17th, and the commission's final order on any appeal would be on December 8th, 2023. Do you have any questions on that, sir?
I do not, sir.
Okay. All right. There's also discovery procedures. If you like, I can run through those, or
Send me a copy of them, Your Honor. I'm happy to review them, and if I can't make one, I'm sure I'll be okay. But I will do my best to make all of them.
And they'll be included in the procedural schedule as well, sir, that I issue today or tomorrow. Yes, sir, Mr. Alexander. You're muted, sir.
I think that's okay now, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. I don't know if we discussed it. In the schedule, we have one brief, right? Not reply brief.
Correct, sir.
I don't know if we discussed whether, because it's one brief, all parties are agreed with that. I'm just wondering if it should be often when we do that, an extra 5 or 10 pages since, or even more, but I'm thinking 5 or 10 since it's just one brief and there won't be a reply. I don't, maybe Ryan discussed that with the parties, or maybe I didn't. I forget stuff, but I thought I'd bring it up now and see what the parties want.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Gallagher.
If I may, Mr. Alexander, you did bring it up during our discussion, and as I recall, we got off that call without resolving that or having any finality on it. With that said, Columbia has no objection to what you're suggesting with respect to additional pages.
Is that satisfactory, Mr. Alexander? How many more pages would you like?
Leave that up to the company or staff.
Well, as
I mean,
far-
I could tell you it'll either be 5 or 10. And how about no more than 10 pages? But I'm okay with 5 as well. I'm just trying to make sure that everybody has enough.
I'll take 10 extra pages rather than another brief. And what is Mr. Wilson or Mr. Alexander, you remind me what the maximum is? Is it
60.
like 60? All right, so why don't we'll say up to 70 pages. Is that
Mhm.
satisfactory?
Oh, to me and to OPC. Ryan, what do you,
Yep, that works.
All right, a lot of head nods. All right, so we'll I'll make sure that that is included, and to the extent that it's not, I'll just someone remind me at the evidentiary hearings. All right. Do we have anything else that we need to address today? Ms. McLemore, did you file a petition to intervene? I'm not saying that it's not necessarily required, but I haven't seen you in a rate case
Okay.
in a while or ever.
Well, I have been a couple times, but no, and I don't represent Power Plant Research Program in this case. It's going to be the Maryland Energy Administration.
Okay.
And so I know it's a little bit different than you usually see me, but yeah. So it's MEA that we're representing. And we did
Okay.
file a
And-
motion to intervene. Yes. It was
Okay,
filed
did you?
by David Shapiro with our office.
Okay, I must have missed that. My apologies. Before we leave, does anyone have an objection to MEA's intervention in the case? All right, okay, your petition is granted as well.
Do you need me to send any? I can forward that to you.
Absolutely not. No, that's fine. I'm sure it's there, and I just may have missed it now. Anything else before we end today?
I just have a quick question. Where will I email just my account number? I mean, I have 4 accounts with Columbia Gas in Washington County. So I can send one number, my home address, or my multiple accounts, whatever works for Columbia Gas.
Probably your home address, sir, since you're representing yourself. And you can send it to, I believe, both Mr. Collins and Mr. Gallagher were on the email in my response to you yesterday, sir.
May I send an account number?
Mr. Gallagher, Mr. Collins, is that sufficient?
You can send an account number, that's fine, but Your Honor, respectfully, I was not copied on your email to
All right.
him.
Okay, I apologize. I must have an issue with your email, so I'll try and figure that out on my end, sir.
So, but Mr. Carvel Collins, he forwarded that along to me, so I have Mr. Marcus' email address. I will send him my email information so that he can communicate directly with me.
Thank you. And again, my apologies, Mr. Gallagher.
No problem.
I'll get it figured out on my end. Great. All right. Anything else? All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And we'll look for Columbia's updates on the 30th.
Thank you, Your Honor.
thank
All
you,
right.
Your
Enjoy
Honor.
the rest of your day. And thanks again for your patience. We're off the
Thank
record.
you.
Anywheres. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Francis, yes.
AOBA did not agree to that entire timetable. There was just one change that we wanted to make, which we